Hi, everyone. This is Pastor Tasha. I am working on recording my second devotion for families at Holy Trinity. And the story I want to read to you today is from Matthew 14. And, I'll just get into it and then we'll talk a little bit about why I chose this. And it says, immediately Jesus made the disciples get into the boat and go on ahead of him to the other side while he dismissed the crowd. After he had dismissed them, he went up on the mountainside by himself to pray. When evening came, he was there alone, but the boat was already a considerable distance from the land, buffeted by the waves because the wind was against it. During the fourth watch of the night, Jesus went out to them, walking on the lake. When the disciples saw him walking on the lake, they were terrified. "It's a ghost," they said and cried out in fear. But Jesus immediately said to them, "Take courage, it is I. Don't be afraid." "Lord, if it's you," Peter replied, "tell me to come to you on the water." "Come," Jesus said. Then Peter got out of the boat, walked on the water, and came towards Jesus. But when he saw the wind, he was afraid, and beginning to sink, cried out, "Lord, save me." So, this text is a Bible passage near and dear to my heart. It's actually the gospel reading I chose for my ordination when I was officially had the hands laid on me and officially became a pastor. And there were many reasons I chose this passage. Part of it is, so one of my greatest strengths, we do, I'm a big fan of, those personality tests, things like Myers-Briggs, for example. I'm very familiar with that. And there's another one called Strength Finders out there, which I find a lot of fun. None of these are perfect. None of these perfectly explain anyone, but I find them kind of a fun conversation piece and a way to understand myself and others better. And one of my strengths, for better or worse, is called self-assurance. This means that I don't need a lot of outside feedback to know when I'm on the right track, when I'm doing well, that I don't need to go to a million different people for advice, that often I am grounded and centered enough in myself to know usually what's the best move for myself. Of course, they call these strengths, but there's always kind of a double-edged sword to it, which also means, with self-assurance, it means I know when I'm doing a good job, but it also means that I also know when I am failing miserably, when everything is going poorly, when I've done something wrong, when something has just not gone as planned or something just went off the rails in maybe an expected or unexpected way. And ministry is so much like this, and often ministry is one of the most humbling things that you'll ever do. That and parenting. Oh, don't we know this? It's that and parenting that will take all your well-laid plans and the ways that you thought things were going to go and go, and you find yourself sinking. And I thought of this especially this week. One of my really good and well-meaning friends decided to send us a link to one of those motivational speakers during this time. One of those, we see these on the internet everywhere, the ones that say, you're doing great. A lot of people have been passing around, for those of you who watch Sesame Street, Elmo's dad recorded a PSA, a public service announcement telling all the parents out there, you're doing a great job. You're doing the best you can. And I'm like, really, Elmo's dad, you don't know me. You don't see me. You don't see how I'm failing. You don't know how often I spend on my phone when I should be watching my kid, how much screen time I give him, how I feel every time I'm doing something for ministry as opposed to watching my kid. And as having a kid who struggles with social emotional development already, wondering, what kind of monster am I going to be sending back to daycare when it finally reopens, whenever that happens to be? A complete stranger who doesn't know my life is going to be able to tell me, oh, you're doing great, honey. Elmo's dad, be it one of those motivational influencers, Instagram people, famous authors of books. I don't believe you. You don't know me. You don't know my life. You don't know how I'm sinking and how I'm failing. And I know I'm failing at times. I mean, this is just part of the deal, a part of parenting. I know I'm not doing a good job. And what I need in those times is not somebody to come and tell me, oh, but no, you're doing okay. Because I'm not going to believe them. What I need instead is Jesus to reach his hand down into my sinking self and pull me out of the water. And that is just what Jesus does in this. Immediately, it says, Jesus reaches out his hand and catches him. You have little faith, he said. Why did you doubt? And when they climbed into the boat, the wind died down. Then those who were in the boat worshipped him, saying, truly, you are the Son of God. I took comfort in this passage on the day of my ordination, and I take comfort in this passage now, knowing that Jesus, who sees all of me and all the ways that I'm failing myself and my household and everything, and reaches in and pulls me out and saves me. Not because of anything I've done, but because he is the one who comes and saves us and rescues us. That's in his name, God, Jesus, God saves. God comes to rescue us, to forgive us, not because of anything we've done, but out of love and mercy. And that's the message that I need. I don't need a pep talk. I don't need a motivational speech. I just need a God who comes and rescues me, now and always. Thank you for joining me tonight. Amen.